Okay.
Are they for vaccinated players or?
Those are, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
We talked a lot about Chase Young as a player. What is your read on kind of him as a young man, as a person, and kind of as he's maturing and getting older? What is your read on Chase as a person?
I think the thing that I really appreciate about who Chase is he's a very driven young man. He wants to succeed. He wants to do things the right way. He's he's got some really good core values. He's very family oriented. He's a guy that really appreciated people doing things the right way. He cheers for his team. I mean, it doesn't matter who's out there, he's cheering for him. And I don't know if you noticed, but when he's not in, he doesn't necessarily always stand by the defense. He goes over to the offensive guys and interacts. There's a leadership quality to him that I really appreciate.
Jeremy Reeves got some time late last season. Looks like he's getting a good bit of work out there. What have you seen from him so far?
You know, the thing that I appreciate about Jeremy is he just does his job. He works hard, and it's a true appreciation. You know, last year he was one of the guys that truly impressed me during training camp. You know, and when we had to cut down, he was one of the guys that was on the bubble. And, you know, initially he didn't make it. We had him on practice squad, but I told him if he keeps working the way he is, he'll get a chance, and he did. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate the effort he's given us right now. He really is.
Antonio Gibson, he said in mini camp that he had some lingering issues with his toe. Is he full go now? What have you seen just from?
Yeah, Jeremy looks full go.
No, Antonio Gibson.
Oh, Antonio Gibson, AG, yes. You know, he looks good. He really does. He came in solid. His conditioning test looked really good. He really did. It looks like he's past those effects right now. Now, again, you never know because of turf toe is one of those things. But he looked good. I'm really pleased with you know where he is right now. He's solid, and just expect him to continue to grow and take another step.
Going back to Chase for a minute, when you talk about like the things about him doing, going over and interacting with the offense and all that, it seems kind of basic, but you don't always see that. So how unusual is that for a guy at his level to be doing those kind of things?
Not just his level, but his years in the league.
And that's what I meant here, experience.
Yeah, and John, I think that's that's an exception. But what it does is it shows the other guys too that hey man, we're here, we're behind you. Because sometimes it does get fractionalized out there. You know, there's a little bit of separation. It's offense against defense. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure everybody understands that we're not on our schedule. So we're all pulling in the same direction. And I think that's the message. Really is about hey, we're all team, we're all together. I think that's really one of the cool things about what he does.
And you obviously haven't coached Landon Collins in a game, but just seeing him out here, what does he add that maybe either, I don't know if it surprises you or that you've taken notice of?
Well, I do know from having watched him last year that there's a physicality he brings. There's that physical presence. He is a playmaker of sorts because he plays downhill. He's got the right type of temperament that you want from your defensive players.
How have you seen the way that Ryan Fitzpatrick has kind of embraced this competition and just having to fight for the starting job?
Nothing seems to faze him. We were rolling Kyle. We were rolling Taylor in today, and nothing seems to faze him. He just goes out and does his job. He doesn't look over his shoulder, and I think that's a confident player. And I think guys can learn from that. Don't worry about what's going on over here. Worry about yourself. Worry about doing your job. Worry about things that that are going to help you. I mean, again, in his mind, what's important versus what's interesting. I think I love that about him. And he's a guy also that's he's communicating, he's helping, he's working with everybody. That is cool. I mean, that's the type of stuff that helps your football team.
Hey, Ron, this might be a little bit of a basic question, but I wonder, what are some of the things that you think are key for Chase to take that next step this year?
I think continue to understand and develop his sense for what his job is, but what everybody else is doing. It's important to understand, what's going on with coverage. Why? Because the coverage is going to impact it. If it's man coverage, you're going to get a little bit more time. If it's zone coverage, you might not get as much time in your pass rush. What's it mean when they overload a side, when they overload to you with 2 tight ends, what are they trying to accomplish? Are they trying to widen you and create that extra step in the pass rush? So I think that's the thing that's going to help him, by looking at how people are trying to attack him, and look at the whole scope of what we're trying to do on defense. What's the 3 technique doing next to you? Okay, what happens when you've got the 1 on your side? Those types of things. It'll help advance the way he plays, because he's more aware of what's going on around him too.
And what will you see from him on the field versus man or zone that allows you to know, okay, he's getting that, he's processing that? What are you looking for?
By the way he does things. Again, if it's 3rd and long and he knows we're in man, he knows the quarterback's going to have to hold the ball a little bit, so he's got an opportunity to set something up. If it's 3rd and long and we're in zone, the quarterback's going to probably 3rd and short and we're in zone, the quarterback's going to probably try and throw the ball a little bit quicker. So he's got to understand, I don't have time to set it up. I've got to penetrate, I got to get vertical, I got to get into the guy's throwing lane, I got to get into his vision, that type of stuff. That's when you'll know. When you don't see these, 3rd and shorts and he's running these, and he's running this up and under, and he's selling it all the way outside, and the quarterback's taking a 3-step. That's when he sees what's happening in the game.
Hey, Ron, you've talked about this quarterback competition, and Fitzpatrick and Heineke are the 2 you identified back when we were back in Ashburn. Kyle Allen in the past is somebody you have praised, and obviously he started games for you. Why isn't, I guess, he ultimately part of the competition right now? Is it just recovering from the injury, or just
Well, I think as he recovers and starts to do more and more things, you'll see him be part of it. But right now, those are the 2 that I've identified as the guys that we got to keep an extra eye on. I'm not, selling Kyle down the river. I think he still has an opportunity to help us, whether it's immediately or in the future. But we'll see. Again, it's about being healthy. It's about getting back out there, doing the things that you're capable of. He'll get opportunities to practice with our groups. He'll get an opportunity to play with our groups. We're going to try and get as many reps for people as we get into to playing the games in the preseason. We only have 3. We got to be judicious, though. We got to make decisions quickly.
And as far as Heineke goes, we talked yesterday about guys like retention from practice a few weeks ago. What have you seen from him, his progress? What are things that are kind of standing out about him?
Again, he came in and he's thrown the ball well. He threw the ball well during OTAs and minicamp. He picked up right where he left off. He has a good understanding of our offense because he's been in it before too as well. So he's a guy that's going to create the competition that we're looking at, and he's going to push Ryan. And we'll see how everything goes and unfolds as we get further down into camp.
The battles between Terry and William Jackson have been pretty fun so far. What do you make of those, and how can those 2 specifically make each other better?
Oh, just by the competition itself. Again, Terry goes against typically a lot of times some of the best. And when you're competing against one of the best in the league in practice every day, it's going to make you just inherently, because that's who you're competing against. So Terry knows to win, I've got to be at my best. I've got to run my routes very precise. I've got to be able to set up my moves. And on the inverse, what you're seeing from William on the other side is, again, I've got to focus in. I've got to anticipate. I've got to understand my leverage. I've got to know where my help is. I've got to know when I have help. I got to anticipate down and distance. So those are things that are honing each other's skills as we go through this.
Hey there, talking to Terry yesterday, he was talking about Fitz, and he said that he empowers everyone on the field, and then I think his exact words were, he's not a big rah-rah guy, but he's still our greatest leader. What kind of leader is he, and what have you seen from him in just these last 2 days?
I think there's a real good professionalism about him and almost an anticipation. He is not a rah-rah guy. He'll get fired up and he'll show it, but what he will do is he will talk to the guys very direct, very forward. He makes eye contact when he's helping young guys out, when he wants to make a point. And that, I think, is a different type of leadership that's out there. Some guys will get on guys. Sometimes guys will go the next step in terms of, hey, you got to get after it. You got to do this right. You got to do it. And I haven't seen that yet. And we may see it, we may not. But right now, his leadership style more is about, hey, follow me, and just listen to me. And that's been good for some of our young guys, because I've been around when guys have gotten on younger players, and it creates a little bit of animosity. He's there to help, and he's been really good about that.
was just hoping you could kind of clarify what you were saying about the quarterbacks in the competition there. Are you saying Ryan and Taylor are competing for basically the starting job, and Kyle might join that competition at some point?
Yep.
Or okay.
At some point. I mean,
Okay.
again, we'll see how things play out. We got a good group of guys. I like the guys. I truly do. And we'll see how it happens. We got a young guy in Steven Montez that we like as a developmental guy right now. We got him working on some special team stuff too, just in case. So we'll see. But it's a good group. We've got 2 clear-cut guys right now that have an opportunity. We have a 3rd guy that's shown us he can do it in this league.
Is there something you're looking for from Kyle to know that he's ready to?
Well, I think as he continues to get healthier and healthier, we'll get a chance to watch him do things more and more, and we'll assess from there. All righty, cool. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Ryan. I'm just curious, being in a quarterback sort of competition here with Taylor Heineke, how do you kind of view this camp, and what do you want to kind of show Ron Rivera and Scott Turner?
I just try to focus on myself, the things I know I need to get better at, how I can progress in this offense, learning it better, feeling it out better. And it's been a good first few days just in terms of retention and the whole group, just in terms of getting out there. It's not necessarily the easiest offense to learn, but I've been real impressed with the guys. Now it's just doing it every single day as we put new stuff in and continue to get better. But just working with all these guys, getting on the same page, having them know what I expect of them and vice versa, that's really important, and that's a big part of what I'm going to try to get accomplished as well.
Hi, Ryan. Yesterday, Terry was talking about the work that you guys kind of did together in the spring. What do you feel like you and the other receivers kind of accomplished off the bat in the spring?
Well, even just getting to meet them as people, I think that's an important part of it. And, the couple weeks that we had together were so valuable for me and for them, I think, for this team in general, just being a very young team and getting some of these base concepts put in. even just getting the work in on the field, hearing it in a huddle, so much different than being on a Zoom call or trying to figure it out on a piece of paper. So I think just the familiarity of each other, of the offense, of lining up and having to run a route, that kind of stuff was real good for us this offseason.
Yeah. What kind of progress do you feel like you guys have made recently, and what kinds of things are you guys still trying to work on?
Well, I think we basically have established our baseline. In terms of the knowledge that we have right now, now we just need to continue to build upon that. And I think things always change too, and guys change a little bit when you get to the games. So we'll get to that first preseason game and see if the guy that's been running the in cut at 20 yards the whole time all of a sudden runs it at 12 and freaks out a little bit. There's some stuff like that where we need to get some more reps and just get a good feel for all these guys. And that's what training camp is for. It'll be a progression for us, and we'll have a day or two where maybe it's not so good, but we've got to continue to be on that upward progression.
You're a Florida guy. How does the heat here compare, and does it make you want to dump the beard on a day like this?
It does not compare. I could tell you that right now. Whether it was training camp in Houston or Nashville or Tampa or Miami, and especially Miami and Houston, it's very nice out right now. So the beard is just part of it for me. I don't know if it's hot or cold anymore. It's just my normal feeling. So.
Is there anything you do to keep everybody focused? You got the crowd, you got the heat, you got everything going on. How do you keep your focus?
I think that's a feel thing as it's going on. Sometimes there is ultra focus and nothing needs to be said, and other times guys are lagging up to the line or slow getting out of the huddle. Maybe we've got a personnel change that didn't happen as crisp as it could. So that kind of stuff, as it comes up, you just stay on top of it in practice.
This is a bit of a random one, but your first time being sacked in the NFL was Sean Taylor was on the other end of it. Do you have any recollection of that, and any memory of facing Sean overall?
I just saw a Sean Taylor jersey out there and flinched, because it's just like, he was obviously an incredible player, and at that time I probably didn't know who sacked me because I was trying to figure out who I was in the huddle with, but. He was obviously a great player.
Thank you.
Ryan, you've obviously gone through a lot of different training camps, and you know how this is going to go day to day to some degrees, but I'm sure there's some mile markers for you in terms of getting ready for the season. What are like one or two things that for you you're anticipating coming up that you'll kind of know where you are, maybe where the offense is getting ready for the season?
It's definitely a marathon. We don't need to come out and put every single play we have in right away, and I don't need to come out and throw 300 balls every day. It's going to be a progression. We're going to build up on this thing, but there are just certain moments, certain routes that happen. I hit Terry on one of the end of practice today where that kind of connection is something that you build off of, something that when we've got a play that we need and we're at Dallas, when it's a gotta have it situation, I've got that in the back of my mind, just thinking, okay, I know Terry can make this play, and he's got a lot of confidence in me being able to put that ball up to him. So some of it, maybe not necessarily mile markers, but just moments. There are going to be moments in training camp. I had a play with Logan Thomas today that before we had the play, I talked to him about just the feel that he needed to have and his awareness, and all of a sudden we run the play, we get a particular look, and he's in the exact right spot at the right time. So building those type of relationships and trust with guys, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Whether it's a certain route or a certain coverage, but figuring out who those guys are and, the situations that I can rely and trust guys in.
And I got to imagine that as somebody who has traveled through the league, that when you get these moments where the instincts kick in, where people are and they know what you're going to do, that's got to be so exciting to start to feel like, hey, we're kind of figuring each other out.
Yeah, that's helpful. And just another example from practice today, Adam Humphries, had a route I thought he was going to do something different on, but all of a sudden I saw the body language he gave, and I knew exactly where he was going. So there's stuff like that, and with Adam and I, maybe there's a little bit more history, but there's little subtleties like that with some of these guys that you pick up on, you learn, and that's going to help us in some of these games in the fourth quarter.
Hey, Ryan, you've talked about how you felt like this is maybe the best situation you've been at in your career, and you signed here to be the guy and all that. And Ron has talked about the competition, et cetera. But for you, at what point in your career do you get to that point where you're not really looking around you, just focused on yourself and not worrying about competition, this or that, and just more about your game?
Yeah, I think it's a hard thing. I think early on, that's what it was every year for me, was you're doing the numbers game. And, are they going to keep 3 quarterbacks or 2? And, boy, if they keep, a fullback this year, maybe you just – early on, that's kind of what I always did, just trying to figure it out. And you just learn that that is not productive. What's productive is just to focus on myself every single day, focus on the things I need to work on. And with that, being the leader of a unit, sometimes my focus isn't just about me. When I say that, it's about everybody. It's about the tempo to the line. It's about, guys being into it, guys making plays, whatever it is. But that was something I had to learn throughout my career, that it was all about me, because there's only so much I could control. So focusing on what I could control and doing the things that put me in a better situation to make me better, that's what I have done for the last however many years, and it's really, really helped me out and work.
And then when you get in these situations and maybe you don't get every first team rep or whatever, how do you learn to maybe maximize the reps that you're getting to make sure that you're going to be able to show what you want to show? And I know you're getting a lot of reps, but if it's not everyone, is there?
Yeah, just staying mentally sharp at all times, and sometimes it's not necessarily a bad thing if, again, I'm not throwing 300 balls a day, Sometimes just staying sharp and watching, and even if it wasn't my rep, watching another guy do something and going up and talking to him about, I loved what you did because, or hey, we could get sharper on your break or whatever it is, but just staying in tune, staying sharp mentally, and just making sure that I'm into it at all times.
You mentioned the complexity of Scott Turner's offense. I was just kind of curious, what makes it difficult to learn? What do you kind of make of it? Just how
some of it's just the words, the verbiage, that whatever offense you go to, it's going to be a little bit different. And so that part of it for me is just doing it, calling it, getting comfortable with it. That won't be that big of an issue. Some of it is how you're attacking a defense, and some of the scheme isn't necessarily what I've done the last few years, but it's been long proven to be great in how they've done it. So there's just all kinds of different things that go into it. But the biggest thing for me, and what I want to get out of this camp, is being able to anticipate what Scott's going to call. Being able to be in a situation, and when he calls something, to know, okay, this is his expectation of why he's calling this play. And for him, for us to be in a situation, for me to be wanting a play and for that play to come into my ear, thinking, okay, we're on the same page. That kind of stuff is just going to come as we work together. So those are the things. The chemistry between Scott and I is something that I'm really excited about, and it'll just continue to get better as we play together.
Hey, Ryan, I wonder, is there any way to build that chemistry other than repetitions and getting plays in, or is there something else you can do to maybe help that process?
A lot of it is repetition, certain periods that maybe aren't scripted in practice. You put in situations that you didn't really expect. Okay, you got to pull something out. What's it going to be? What's your go-to call here? And as you get into a game week and you game plan and you talk about what we're doing on certain third downs, that can also be pre-thought out in practice a little bit. But training camp, it'll definitely be, we'll get thrown into a situation. I want to be able to anticipate his play call and know why he's doing it.
And a little bit of a random follow-up for you.
Yeah.
You were really, really good against pressure last year, and I wonder if that was something that maybe you saw or tweaked, or if that was circumstance. I wonder what the key was there.
As I've had more kids, just 7 of them coming at me now, it just becomes a little bit more normal. That's my comfort zone now. It's weird when I'm when I was coming for OTAs and I'm sitting in a hotel room by myself. That was a little bit weird. So I think just family life helps that out.
Your rapport with Logan Thomas seems pretty strong. What have you seen from him just in your short time working with him? And do you get a sense that just his quarterback background, does that help him? Does it help you in working with him?
Yeah, it definitely helps him in that he sees it differently than a normal tight end would see it. It also helps our relationship just in the things we're able to discuss, things we're able to talk to on the sideline about, whatever it is. But he just has a way about him of finding the open spot. But obviously, his big body, his length, his smarts, and then just the catch radius. he's a very versatile tight end that can kind of do it all. And I think, when you sit, and I haven't known him for very long, but so happy for him and getting the new contract that he did, because when you sit and you're trying to build a football team and you want to figure out who the pillars of your program are and the guys that you want to be examples for your team, that's a guy we want everybody to look up to. His work ethic, kind of his path here, and how it wasn't smooth, but it was a rocky path where he was on a couple different teams, worked his butt off, and look where he is now. That's the cool story that some of these young guys can look up to, and say, okay, it is possible, and then go ask them, how the heck did you do it, and watch them every day.
Obviously, vaccinations are a big topic. As the leader of the offense, I'd imagine you enjoy being in the lunchroom with the guys, things like that. Do you make a personal appeal to them? How do you approach that?
I've had plenty of guys engage me in conversation, questions, guys that have been vaccinated, guys that haven't been vaccinated. And I just try to open, honest discussion about what I think, and it is a personal choice. That's the end of the discussion for me. I'm going to respect whatever you do. If you're making a decision because you think it is best for you and your family, beautiful. And my personal decision may be different than that, And so, I had, let's see, how many kids were in school last year? 6 of the 7 were in school last year. And as soon as I can get my older kids vaccinated, we did, and the younger kids, as soon as that rolls out, we'll get them vaccinated. But they'll all wear masks in school this year and follow the protocols, and that's just kind of the world we live in right now. So that's the way I go about it, respect everybody else's decision, and then make mine and what I think is best for my family.
I know we've only been here for 3 days, but what have you really appreciated about your team so far? Or what is something that none of us see that makes you believe, okay, this team's going to be just fine in 2021?
I think one thing is we like each other. And not everybody has to like each other, but guys get along. It's got a real team feel to it. And sometimes in the NFL, that's missing a little bit, because guys are there for a year, or it's just cutthroat with guys competing against each other. And it's a very competitive team on the field, but a close team off the field. And even through what everybody went through last year and some of the protocols and things this year, guys seem to really like each other, and I think that's a good thing.
You talk about building relationships and how important that is, and we've heard from Ron and we've heard from Terry talk about the type of leader that they see you being. You're not the rah-rah guy, not the cheerleader, but I want you to describe to us, what kind of leader do you feel like you've been so far in these few days?
I want to be the guy that when we're in the fourth quarter, when we're facing some adversity and people don't know what to do, they can look to me. I've been through a lot of my career, been through a lot of my life, and I just try to stay steady. I want to be the same guy every day. I want to be the same guy in those situations. And so if I can provide a calmness for them in those biggest moments, that's kind of the guy that I want to be.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ron.
Good to see all of you. Oh my
Nice
gosh.
to see you.
We can get the fun stuff out of the way first, but obviously a lot has been made about the vaccine, and you're one of the team leaders, and it talked about that. I'm just curious, your decisions and what went into your decisions, and being a team leader, do you look at your decisions differently because you know that maybe it has an impact on others?
Yeah, I'm not going to disclose my, personal information. I hope y'all can respect that, but, I respect everybody's decision. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sure the protocols of the NFL and NFLPA, the guidelines they put together, I'm just going to make sure me and my teammates follow that to the best as we can.
Are you at all concerned as a team leader that something like an issue like being vaccinated divides a locker room? Like, does this have the capability of some are, some aren't, of kind of being a divisive issue?
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna respect everybody's decision. You know, each man's decision, they got their own. I'm just gonna make sure that the whole team, we follow those guidelines that the NFL and the NFLPA put together.
Just coming into your second training camp, where do you feel like you've made the biggest strides just year over year?
I would say it's hard to say. Just I would say, as a whole, I just feel more comfortable out on the field, just knowing I did it already 1 year under my belt. And you know, just every day it's you know, you gotta stay on it, hands, hips, get off. You know, you just gotta have those repetitions every day to get better. And you know, that's what we're going. That's what we're out doing. You know, the whole D line and really just the whole defense, just out there trying to get better every day.
Where do you feel more comfortable? Just with is it with the alignment, with the coming around the corner, just knowing the defense? Where do you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I would say right now I definitely got more comfortable. Y'all have heard me in the past say play recognition. I've been really focusing on that. So if anything, like I said, I got a lot better with my play recognition, knowing and expecting certain plays before they actually snap the ball. So I definitely say that's one that you can point out.
On the other side of the ball, what have you seen from Ryan Fitzpatrick, and what kind of rapport has he built with his receiving core?
Man, Ryan, he a baller, man. I love the way he plays. He definitely gets the ball down the field. Him and Terry and all the receivers, you could tell they've been working and studying film because, you know, they picked us apart a little bit in the back end, which is good. You know, I'm loving that our offense is getting at us, and we get back at them, and that's how greatness happens. So I love it.
Chase, obviously a lot's been made about what this defense is potentially capable of based on what you guys did last year, players like you still on the rise. What, beyond just saying we could be a top 10 defense, what for you do you think is the ceiling with this group for this year?
Yeah, you know, I really try not to really give ourselves a ceiling. You know, I think my motto this year is be at my feet at. That's not to really worry about the future, not to worry about the past, but just worry about right now and where I'm at. And I feel like if we go out and do that every day on the practice field, I feel like we're going to be where we're at.
Is there a specific area where you guys feel that you could improve on last year that you guys are talking about specifically?
I mean, I feel like everything. You know, you're never good at. I feel like at everything you do. You know, me and Tez were the top 2 edge rushers in the league. They say so. You know, it's always something to improve. It's always something to get better at.
Ron was complimenting how you're, talking to offensive guys, defensive guys all over the field. Even when you're not on the field, you're just always involved. Where did that come from? When did you start doing that, and why do you make such a point of being so involved with everybody?
I ain't gonna fake. It's really just when I'm out on the field. I love joking with everybody. I just love being out on the sidelines with my teammates talking. I love talking to quarterback Coach Scott. I know they it was yesterday, I guess they ran a boot, and I was real aggressive on it. And today, Logan fake blocked me, and I almost thought I got there, and they ran the screen over my head. And I told him, I said, I love that play call right there. So, it was like, we always going back and forth. And, I feel like when you love the game and you just compete at a high level like that, then we don't have no choice but to get better.
Hey, Chase, good to see you. In terms of continuing to bring players along, you guys were competing against Samuel Cosme yesterday. I think you got by him on the second play of the offensive staff. I'm sorry, Sam Cosme yesterday. I think you got by him on the second rep offensively. When it comes to talking to players, how much of it is also like coaching up like a rookie like him who might possibly be the starting right tackle? How important for you? How important is it for you to bring along people who are going to be on your same team, like as they compete this year?
Yeah, somebody like Sam, I feel like the best thing I can do for him is just to give him everything I have, just to give him my best. If that's going in every day and just, destroying him, then that's what I have to do. That's what I expected last year, Morgan Moses, to strap me up every play. So I know what it's going to be like when I play against Trent. So I feel like the best thing we can do is just go right at him. And, if he asks questions, I'm here to answer them all. If he wants to go over film, I'm here to answer them all. But I feel like the best thing I could do for somebody like Sam is just to give him my best every play.
And then kind of in the same vein, Charles Leno, I've seen you go up against him as well, too. What are some things that you've learned about his game and learned about your own game kind of going against him?
Yeah, definitely. Charles, he's a vet in the game, and he does a lot of different things with his sets, and I love it. And he's good at disguising certain things that he does well. And, I feel like that's just going to help me. So when I get in a real game situation, then I'm already expecting, the the tackle just to stand there, that same stance every snap. So, yeah.
Hey, Chase, last year, getting ready for camp, I think you were mostly, local, getting ready with your guys. This year you were all over the place, and obviously you did a bunch of sponsorships and stuff as well. I wonder how different was this year getting ready to come into camp like this?
It was definitely a little bit more moving around, obviously. But each time I moved around, I still made sure I got my work in, still made sure I was fit. So, really everything I did off the field was just a blessing. And, it was just opportunities that I got from my play. So, number one thing is working and staying in shape, and that's what I did.
And what was it like juggling kind of, building your own profile, your own brand, and also, keeping things ready?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like they told me, I think LeBron, he was working out and on set with the Space Jam, like, Clutch, we all under the same roof. He was working out, it was 58 days, and, he'll be on set, and then he'll go work out, and then he'll come and get back on set. And, they're telling me things like that. It just helped me stay grounded, I feel like, throughout the off season of, doing Family Feud or, doing the eBay commercials, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like hearing that things just helped me stay grounded throughout the whole off season.
Okay, I think, did you need one? Okay, can I get, I just want to ask about you had brought up Montez, and what kind of pair can you guys be, and why, what do you see in his game that can help even you advance?
I feel like, it's between me and Montez, it's that love, it's that brotherhood love, and it's like that natural competition. Now, I feel like we always not really competing, but we are competing, if that makes sense. It's like if Montez is going and I'm slacking a little bit, I know I got to pick the slack up because I know Montez over there busting his ass. Same with me, vice versa. So I think we keep each other up, and I feel like we just keep each other going. And I feel like that's how great we can be if we just keep doing that.
Chase, I know last year, y'all kind of built the defense as the season went along, and I'm sure that's the plan this year as well. But when you look at kind of like the starting blocks, you added Jackson, you got Landon back, you add Davis in the draft. Does it feel like there's more possibilities there and there's more depth there, and you get Ioannidis back as well than there was last year, and how does that kind of get you off to a quicker start?
Yeah, we got everything on paper, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's what we put on field, what we put on the field, and being consistent and just going out there and just having to do it every single day. And I feel like if we stay on each other, we hold each other accountable, and do it every day, then that defense that y'all talking about, I feel like we can be that.
Chase, you talk about always being the guy to pump up everyone. You're always vocal. We see that. Yesterday, we got to see and talk to your mom, so we know where you get it from. What was it like for you to be able to finally have them back at training camp and just be able to see her and see the fans? We know you were interacting with a lot of them yesterday.
Yeah, they're here, and then for me, that's the first time due to the pandemic. Obviously, I couldn't see her last year. It feels great, though, seeing my mom over there supporting and my other family. And, just the fans, all the fans out here supporting us. I wish we can I can slap everybody's hand, sign everybody's jersey and ball. But, I'm just so happy that, the fans still come out here and support us, and that my mom can be here, too.
All right. Thanks, Chase. Thanks, everybody.
football?
Well, I mean, when I'm out there, I would hope he's not making too many completions in my area. But, yeah, he's definitely making plays and doing what he needs to do to keep the offense running. And, I mean, you should be really excited going into this season to watch the offense. So.
Have you noticed any progress they've made compared to when he first showed up in the spring to, like, now?
Kind of a little bit of the same stuff that he's been doing. Like, he's just a guy that's going out there and being a leader and doing everything he needs to do to make sure the offense is running smoothly. So, thank you.
Hey, Jamin. Ron yesterday talked about he was impressed by your retention from the spring. I wonder kind of what has been the key to you, obviously being at Mike, handling all that stuff. How have you been able to kind of retain all of that and put it on the field?
I mean, the best way I can put it is before you can learn phrases and words and stuff like that, you have to learn the alphabet. So just making sure I know every position, every linebacker position, not just one specific one, and just making sure my head is in the book at all times because you never know when your number is going to get called at what specific position. So, I mean, just making sure I do what I can and just making sure I know, like, the simple details to my job and just going out and making plays.
Have there been any specific examples you've seen in the first 2 days of camp where you've been like, okay, I remember that, and you play faster? Are there any examples you can share?
Nothing too specific. I mean, stuff that I've seen in OTAs with different route combinations and stuff like that that I started to pick up on and just trying to make sure I'm exact by the time the season get here. Thank you.
Gemma, just in terms of controlling the defense, where do you feel like you've gotten more comfortable? Can you kind of talk about what it's like trying to navigate putting different people in different places, especially as a rookie, trying to get things in the right order?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, everybody taking me in with open arms and making sure we building whatever chemistry we can right now. So it's a lot to take in at first, but I mean, once you get in the swing of things and get used to it, it's nothing that I can't handle. I just go in and with the confidence that I've been had to get me to this point, honestly, and just, like I said, keep my head in the book. That way when I get out there and see things, it's like the game naturally just slows down.
And then, obviously, you've played behind this defensive line in the OTAs and spring practices, but now kind of in training camp where there's a little bit of a faster pace. Where can you kind of see the biggest difference and the impact it has on your job specifically? How much easier is it when you have that front four that you have? And, of course, you have two cornerbacks that typically shut down both sides of the field.
Oh, I love it. I honestly love it because it's definitely going to open up different holes and stuff like that for me to fly around and make plays and just do what I can to be a true sideline-to-sideline guy. So it's definitely beneficial for sure.
How's it been working with Cole Holcomb, and how much do you go to him as well as John Bostic and just kind of picking their brain on the position?
Definitely. That's honestly like my right-hand man, both of them actually. They definitely guys I can run to for anything, even outside of football. And just helping me just come along with everything, whether it's football related or not, just being in the swing of things with camp in general. And if I had any questions in the playbook, of course, I can always run to them for things. And if I was out there and I was a little hesitant with a call or something like that, I can just, like, of course, whisper or say something to them. Not whisper, of course, but, just say something to them, and they'll just get me right back on track so I can be where I need to be to make plays.
Hey, Jamin, you've gotten plenty of work at that middle linebacker spot. How do you feel like that's coming along, and was that what you expected your role to be in this defense?